Hello and welcome. Many Indian companies are investing in Latin America. We've been talking to companies like TCS, Bajaj Auto, who have substantial presence. TCS alone has almost 10,000 people working in Latin America. But Latin America is also a market that needs to be understood better by Indian companies who are trying to venture there and perhaps understand that it's a much wider, diverse set of cultures than a single one, and that's a very important lesson. But to understand a little more about what Latin America offers in terms of opportunity and what are the areas to be careful about, I'm joined by Ingo Ploger, the President of the Business Council of Latin America, here with me. Mr. Ploger, thank you very much for joining us. So what are the lessons that Latin America offers as a business destination? Very broad question, but I'll come to the specifics soon.
Yes. Well, Latin America has a GDP for more or less $75 trillion. It's a half of China. It's less than a half of US and European Union, but it's growing steady. And we have a perception that the internal market is growing very fast in some countries or some regions because the consumer of the middle class is growing up. And the first moment is that the entrance products are being required. So investors are looking to have a position as an insider position to get and to catch this market. So we have in the last year only in Brazil 60 billion foreign direct investments, where you have Latin American companies, you have US, European Union, Chinese, but also Indian companies who are investing successfully in Latin America.
Right. Now, Latin America is a very large landmass, right? And there's, I mean, Brazil and down to Argentina and Chile. Each country is different. What are the things that businesses should be wary or cognizant about as they invest in Latin America?
Well, you have, if you have it in a very simple form, a complex market. The Latin America market, you can say 1/3 of that is in Central America, with Mexico the driving force. 1/3 is in South America, where Brazilian is a driving force, and 1/3 are the others, where you have the Caribbean, where you have the west side of South America, who are oriented more to China. So in that position, you have different kind of perspectives. Ones are commodity-oriented company, the others are consumer or industry-oriented products. So for China, it's interesting to have more the commodity side. For India, it's more to have the technology side or the supplier side. We have a lot of automotive OEMs, so suppliers also from India who are in Brazil or are in Mexico or are in Argentina. They are supplying that growing industry.
So what are the kind of issues that companies could face while investing in Latin America, particularly both ways, I mean, either from a technology standpoint or from a consumer standpoint?
The first issue is you are closer to your client. And similar in India, if somebody wants to be close to the customer in India, you have to be in India. And the same issue is in Latin America too. So if you are a company who are in the consumer market, you have to be there to have the distribution side, to have also the differentiation about what the client wants to have. And if you are in the industry supplier, it's the same issue. You can export, and a lot of people are exporting. But every year, the insider has getting advantage because of logistic issues, but also to be closer in the industrial issue, to have the discussion about solutions. More and more, the Latin Americans wants to have a solution-driven partnership.
Right. So many Indian companies, as you said, have invested in Latin America and Brazil, where you belong. But they've also been having problems. Why is that?
Well, we have some areas where you have structure of international situations or of national situations. And if, for instance, the ethanol or the sugar area. The sugar area is getting quite well because the sugar prices in the international side are okay. But this industry is a flex industry. They can produce sugar or ethanol as a biofuel, getting from the same resource. And in the fuel side, it was a political decision to keep the gasoline prices low, and the ethanol price was linked to the petrol prices. So the pressure over the prices were very high, and that was a sense why this area has come under pressure of profitability in the last 2 or 3 years because the prices were kept very low.
So the three sectors that you think companies in India or in other, maybe even China, could look at for the next couple of years in terms of opportunities?
Well, you have the supplier chain is for the Latin America is very important. You have a lot of assembling companies like the OEMs of the cars, like airplanes, like the white products that you need in a household side.
White goods,
but yes. But the supplier chain is important because Latin America is a typical market, very similar than US, where you have not only the assembling industry, but you have the whole chain industry. And so the linkage from the basic products to the end products is getting by the chain. And there are medium-sized companies where are technology-driven, where are solution-driven, that looks for that markets. And they are finding out that Latin America is a good harbor.
Right. So you've got the Olympics coming up. What kind of an opportunity is that, or is it just going to be a lot of fun?
No, you have an opportunity to be a supplier of some elements in what you need in mega sport events. So we have in the next year the soccer game championship and then the Olympics. And there are companies in the security area and software area and logistics and urban mobilities and so on. There are solutions that you need not only in Rio de Janeiro, where you will have the Olympics, but that you will have the highest exposure. It's, if you are in, you will have an exposure of all the million cities that you have in Latin America. So if you have a good solution for Rio de Janeiro, you will have a good solution for São Paulo, for Santiago, for Buenos Aires, for Mexico, or something like that. That's the window of opportunity and the window where all the world will show you and see you in, for 6 weeks. And that's what drives companies to be in there, not because it's a high demand, but it's a high interesting demand for showing that you are in. And you are capable to do it.
Mr. Ploger, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.